All right, and we are still watching Tropical Storm Rafael. It's early November. We're still talking about the stubborn tropics. And again, thankfully, it is November. If this was August, September, I'd be a little bit more concerned, but not really this late in the season. Trying to get its act together with thunderstorms wrapping around now both sides of the storm, or at least the eastern and western sides. But that has been looking a little healthier all day today. Winds are at 70 miles an hour, so it is on the cusp of becoming a hurricane, and that may happen later tonight or certainly early tomorrow, and definitely as it crosses over Cuba and moves into the Gulf. Now, what we've also seen is a little bit more of an agreement with the models. Not perfect, but a little bit more agreement that once it gets into the Gulf during the day Thursday, we should see a little bit more of a westerly motion. Exactly when it takes that turn will determine just how far off the Louisiana coast it will be. And then also what we're going to be watching later in the week, more so into the weekend, when what is left of the storm starts getting drawn northward. And I say what is left of the storm because as we get into Saturday, Sunday, that increasing wind shear, dry air are going to rip this storm apart. So it is not likely to cross the coast as a named storm, maybe kind of a depression, maybe even the remnants of, but it is going to be ripped apart as it tries to move northward into a hostile environment. As we've been watching the computer model consensus, we have seen a little bit more agreement. Yesterday, if you remember, the GFS in red, the Euro in green were way apart. GFS thinking more northern Gulf Coast, Euro more toward Texas or Mexico. A little bit more agreement, still a bit of a spread because there is still some differences in when the storm's remnants start getting drawn northward. That would also determine exactly when, if we at all, see any kind of impact from the storm. This is what the storm is likely to look like once it gets a little bit closer. Obviously, well-defined hurricane in the next couple of days. Once in the Gulf, certainly still a well-defined hurricane. Then we start to see that interaction with dry air. The rainfall isn't nearly as intense, and we will then start to see the rain kind of getting removed from the core of the storm. Trying to figure out exactly when we would see any impacts has been difficult. Right now, I'm kind of leaning a little more with the Euro, thinking more of a Sunday into Monday and then wrapping up by Tuesday. The GFS would have some of those impacts a little bit sooner, maybe more Saturday, Sunday. So we will see if we continue to get a little bit more of a consensus with the Euro, or maybe they start to shift a little bit more with the GFS. Right now, just know the Gulf is hostile. Very dry air, which is going to wreak havoc with the storm. It'll take some advantage of this little swath of moisture through Friday, but as we get into Saturday, Sunday, that dry air and the increasing wind shear really will start to win out, which is why we're confident this is going to be weakening long before it reaches land. Our rain chances have been around, but a little bit more so out to our west. A couple of showers in northern Tangi and Washington Parish over the last couple of hours. Had some river parishes, Bayou region, but they are gone now. Today's high 85 degrees, only a degree away from the record. Way too warm for this time of year. Unfortunately, the warmth not going anywhere anytime soon. So I'm thinking if we're going to see any impacts from the Rafael or remnants of, it's probably not going to be until Sunday and Monday. And right now, I've only got our rain chances at about 30 to 40%. We stay mild into early next week, but signs are pointing to a real cold front on the way late next week.